Welcome back. The Modern Marketing Institute wouldn't be a good name if we didn't talk about generative AI. Creative with AI, writing with AI, optimization with AI. It's a buzzword. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's using it. And it could be misused. It could be used as a waste of time. But it could also be used highly effectively to create ads and campaigns that were previously totally out of reach for most performance agencies. I have countless stories where creative briefs and creative production that would have cost us $20,000, $30,000, $60,000 in creative fees, which we would have obviously have to have had passed to the client, were costing us hundreds of dollars. And the time it took was reduced by a factor of 100. So decks and ads and full quality production is doable, and it's something you should absolutely explore, but you have to know how to do it, and you have to know how to use it a little bit. So I'm going to spend a few minutes showing you some of the work that we've done and teaching you a little bit about generative AI and how to use it to create stunning visuals that will convert. We have 3 AI prompts for copy, creative, and research, right? Those are the 3 key pillars. The actual words you write, the visuals that go with it, and the research that you do about the client and about the service and about the audience. That is what drives the type, style, and format of visual and copy that you want to produce. So we built you a workbook that you should download. You could fill it in digitally, but you could fill it in with a pen and pencil. Personally, I'm just like, I don't know, I like pen and paper. It's a personal thing. I think it helps me think. But let me show you what this cheat sheet is all about. So you'll see here, build a concept-driven ad in under 15 minutes. But first, you want to write out and get a sense of what you're looking to accomplish. So begin with understanding your audience. A couple quick sentences. What's frustrating them? When we think about visuals, here's a great hook. What would they instantly recognize without any words? What picture would, or object, or expression, or emotion, or animal, or item, or scene, landscape, what would they instantly recognize without you having to use additional words? The best ads are ones that do 2 things. They express, they show the product in use, and they show the emotional state of the product being used. Number 3, if your product disappeared from your customer's life, what problem would your audience still be wrestling with? That's going to help you frame the moment. Number 2, we want to frame the visual with copy. What is one sentence that completes the visual without retelling it? Okay, this is really important. One sentence that completes the visual without having to retell it, where a person would fully understand what you're trying to express with the visual would reflect the copy, the words, and the words would reflect the picture or the video. This is not easy, so you could free associate, write, and erase a bunch of times, and you should not get this right on your first or second or third try. This should take 7, 8, 10 tries to get this right. What would the viewer think or feel right after seeing this visual, right? This is helping you understand the framing of the emotion. We have ads that are supposed to be dark, and we have ads that we want to express something painful, something sorrowful, something joyful. There isn't one right emotion. And you might have a product or service and you might be testing a range of different emotional expressions. And that's fine, that's great. But if you're writing copy, make sure that it's reflecting the emotionality that you're trying to express. Number 3, can you write copy that feels more like a realization than a headline? The biggest mistake marketers make in copy is we talk directly at our customers. And it's like, that's sort of like talking down to them, explaining the obvious. There's a concept in photography or in art called closure. And it basically is a psychological insight that a customer, a person is most satisfied. They get the most joy, when they discover a revelation on their own. So you want to describe a product, you want to describe a service, you want to describe the visual in a way that's not beating the dead horse. It's not hitting it on the nose. It's not so direct. It's clear, but there are benefits, there are features, there's qualitative components that my own brain processes in my own way without you having to tell me everything. Number 3, here's when you could use AI to help you think through these elements. Go to ChatGPT and explain and give them the first 2 pages of this workbook. And then just tell it where you're stuck. Maybe you're stuck on trying to think of a good visual or a good object. One of the best things, one of my favorite things to use ChatGPT for is I'll give it my product and my service, and I'll give it a few of these different components like the emotional framing, the problems that my product solves, and then I'll ask for a metaphor, an analogy, an allegory. I will ask it to explain this on a first grade reading level. Try this. The type of words and thinking you're going to receive back will unlock new angles and creative ways of looking at this in your own mind. When you look back at the first bunch of answers here, you might find that certain things feel too cliche or too obvious or too stale. Use AI to help you rephrase things in a more fresh way. What ideas would you cut, and how can AI help surface your best ideas? You can go to ChatGPT or to Claude or to Grok or whatever the engine that you're using, and you might give it a list of like 10, 20 of your brain dump. And then you go to AI and say, hey, I need more options. Or you could say, I need fewer options. Or you could say, please distill this into the sharpest ideas. And then second to last, you're going to design the ads hierarchy. Does the visual alone create emotional tension, right? Now remove the text. The visual itself, does it stand on its own 2 legs? Does it carry with it some emotional weight, some explanation, some message? Add your copy back. Does your line of copy frame that emotion? Does it continue that story? And number 3, does your call to action resolve the tension? Don't just ask for a click. The call to action button, the text of that button, learn more is okay, but get our pricing is better. Learn more is okay, but speak to an HVAC expert or find the source of your leak, right? Like helping the client see what type of closure that they can get, the prospect see what type of experience and what type of cathartic experience, that release of tension is waiting for them post-click. Why this takes 15 minutes, right? You don't want to be too fast, but the whole point of AI is to increase efficiency. And you could ask yourself, did you make the hard decisions before you started writing? Number 2, can you describe your ad's emotional arc in 1 sentence? And number 3, are you rushing to write? Make sure you pause and think clearly. Fast copy doesn't come from speed. Fast copy comes from thinking first. And this is a workbook which you could reuse over and over and over again. Now that you've been through this process, it's almost like I used to do this with wine tasting, where you would like taste wine and you write down the different notes that you could taste, and then it would give a section for me to just write my own thoughts and review the experience of the overall wine tasting session. So this is that. How did this workbook work for you? What worked? What clicked? What didn't? Where did you get stuck with generative AI? Where was it helpful? What new things did you learn? What surprised you? What frustrated you? And those notes are going to help you get better and better at this process as you go along. So that's the workbook. We also have a Creative Strategist custom GPT. The link is down below. Once you open up this GPT, it's trained on hundreds of creative briefs that Adventure Media has produced for its clients. It's trained on hundreds of blog posts and books that we have written and produced about copywriting. It's trained on age-old principles of psychological persuasion. It's a really, really good creative strategist to help you think through these angles, and these metaphors. It's going to be infinitely more effective than just going to a raw ChatGPT install, because this is going to be using the large language model, but it's all going to be boundaried and synthesized through Adventure Media's approach, history, data, and proven tactics for writing effective copy and designing effective visuals.